Okay, so today we're starting in lesson 45. Nima. So in this chapter, we're going to be introducing mo, which means and, as in with. So not and um, like the other way and is used. So we'll see that. So this is as opposed to bea, which is which introduces a new clause. This is the and that just talks about two different things in the same clause. So yeah, noun phrases only. Nouns and pronouns. So the dialogue is o ko ako whakataha whina mo kepu. Mhm. Io, kuna ako whakataha. Mhm. Yeah. Te ka alo moe pule. Io, te mao anai. Tao mo koe. Okay. So in the dialogue, we can see here, we have finau mo kepu, where mo is basically and. Finau and kepu are studying together. Um, Here we have a different version. So te ke alu moipule. So we have it used as in with, right? So that's why it's and with. You can see that like it's kind of like it goes before um like sort of like the noun phrase, and it kind of means with this. Yeah. So in English, and kind of it has to be between these two things. You can't say, "Are you going and kepu?" We have a different word, right? But in here, you can kind of think of it as the same thing. Oko whakataha afinao with kepu as well, and kepu as well. And here it's will you go? So it's moi pule. It's kind of like you and the pule. And you can see here the same sort of use. Tao mokoi. So this is sort of a interesting thing because the best English translation is "Would you like to go with us?" But you can see the question is "We'll go with you." Um, yeah, so it's like you can see the literal translation is "Shall we all go, you included?" And so that kind of gives you more insight into how Mo works. So we can see Shumway's notes. It connects words in series, and we also see here that the is not dropped in a Mo series. So in English, we'll say the um yeah, we'll see the man and woman are studying sometimes in English. Um Whereas in Tongan you say the man and the woman. So ako e tangata moe fifine. So you always have to have like if it's a definitive noun, you cannot drop this. Like this e right here doesn't carry over past the mo. So you can see it with proper nouns, since there never is a definite marker. We just yeah, there's a definite article. It's just ohoako afinal mokepo moseni. So there's no a because you would never have an a in front of the names, but here because there was be an a in both in front of tangata and fifine, we have them both. Um, so yeah, you would have mo between all of them. So it would be akwe tangata moi fifine moi tamaiki moi whawhekau. So yeah, you always have and. It's not like English where you only say and the last one. Um, right. So yeah, so moas suggests with, like I mentioned earlier. So alo moi kato um is take. Yeah. You can see the translation is take the basket, right? But literally it means go with the basket, like go and then, along with the basket in your possession, which is yeah, which means you may have it basically. Hmm. But yeah, it's not very common in English. But you can see oh, okay. Yeah, so you can see two more examples, hap moi maya. So yeah, so bring the rope with you or just come with the rope. And then alamoya. Um this is Yeah, this is one of those phrases that is said very often in Tongan, alamoya. People will just, like Tongans really love to offer people things. It's kind of just like part of their culture, and so alamoya is something you'll hear all the time. Yeah, it's like you can have it, like you can have it, and usually you want to refuse that. It's just like sort of part of the culture. So here we'll have some practice. So we'll be practicing with Mo. Yeah, if someone offers something to you four times, they actually want you to have it, and they're not just trying to be polite, you know. Um, but yeah, yeah. In general, it's just kind of like the way the social interaction goes is you really don't accept it the first time someone offers you something. Mhm. Okay, so let's practice. Tao mo devita. Mhm. Tao mo ia. Tao mo ao. Mhm. Yeah, so that you can see the translation a minute ago. Mhm. Takesiuki et pita mo devita. Mhm. Te whaikawa mo tu pou. Te matawhaiva mo sione. Nai foki mai sione mo pita. Mhm. Ko se kaya mele mo tamasi'i. Mhm. E o mai whai ako mo tamaki ako. Mhm. Yeah, short words like this, like ako, and Ulf, and oh, I guess Ulfa does have a glottal stop, but yeah, it's hard when to remember whether they do or do not have a glottal stop sometimes. Yeah, yeah, tamaiki ako. Yeah, and again, like for here, you can kind of pronounce it as if there was a Y. Hmm. Yeah. Mhm. Okay. How moi beni? Ha ha ooh. Mhm. Alamoya. Okay, good. So now we'll do some substitution. We have Alamoy kato. Alamoy maea. Alamoy ufi. Alamoy beni. Alamoy mekai. Mhm. Alamoy talo. Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I was trying. I kind of got. Mhm. Uh, yeah, it's hard to remember to do it when you're reading something. Oh, yeah. So it's this is how Shumway kind of formats it. He puts the definitive accent in the sentence right here, but he won't mark the definitive accent on the words. So it's kind of up to you to remember that it's that there should be definitive accent. Yeah. Yeah, so he's consistent with that in all of the substitution. Um yeah. Let's see. Uh Te ke ngawe mo pita mo te vita. Mhm. Te ke vainga mo pita mo te vita. That's good. Um Te ke, let me make sure this is te ke. Yeah, so here he just says akapulu. Te ke akapulu mo te vita mo oh, he does. Yeah, this I do. People will just say akapulu instead of tau akapulu. Um Te ke akapulu mo pita mo te vita. Hmm. Te ke yeah, fuhu is new to this chapter. Te ke fuhu mo pita mo te vita. Mhm. Oh yeah, maybe they forgot it in that. But yeah, it is in the vocabulary of this chapter, at least in my version. So, mm, interesting. Yeah, but you'll see that it means fight. Oh, okay. Yeah. Uh, Te ke whakawa mo pita mo te vita. Mhm. Te ke whaako mo pita mo te vita. Mhm. So here you can see, yeah, Yeah, so I guess you can see in translating to English, we use will you work with Peter and David, right? So it seems like this is with and this is and. But I mean, fundamentally, these are exactly the same mole, right? In Tongan. No, because then it would be teke ngawe pita mote vita. What would you put here? Right. Because it's you who is working. It's teke. Um, no, you can't really say you can't have teke ngawe and then ah referring to like because you're not working, Peter. E ngawe apita. Yeah, because teke ngawe apita sounds like you will work Peter and like work him. No, because you can't because the e ngawe apita. No, because once if you have the prepost pronoun here, the a now refers to the subject of the sentence. A pita modevita. Yes, that is how it would be. Yes, because yeah, so that's why the mo's here because it's you working with Peter and with Devita. Um, and so that's why there's two mo's. Mhm. Another note was I don't know if this has been done before, but here fiaco you can see it's been used as a verb. I think usually you would see that as akoi for to teach. Um, but here fiaco, which means we've usually seen as teacher, you can use it as a verb to mean act as a teacher. And still the best way to translate that is teach in English. But you can see that there's kind of a difference in meaning where if this had said akoi. Mhm. We'll go to the next one. Ko si o finau mo tamaiki. Ko si o finau mo tamaiki. Mhm. Ko si kai finau mo tamaiki. Ko si makona finau mo tamaiki. Ko si. Mhm. Yeah, I guess. I guess it takes like if as a second language you have to sort of plan the flow of the sentence. Mhm. Yeah, for Tongans it's unconscious. Ko sai finau mo tamaiki. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, so this implies that they were not Sai, right? Yeah. So are they well or better? Yeah, so they have become satisfied with food, right? So or full, as we say in English. Which is, these two sentences are pretty similar in meaning. Like, have they eaten and are they full? But you can see, that there's obviously a slight difference. Um, I've I know very little about Chinese. I've heard someone explain it once, but um, I've forgotten already. So here we have a conversion drill. So we're going to be looking at positive sentences and converting them into negative sentences. So let's look at the first one together, and then we'll have you figure out the rest. So see, the first one is um, "Nako ha'u moe tohi." Ha'u. Mhm. And you can see we'll convert that to negative. So na e ikai te o ha'u moe tohi. So you can see um, yeah, we've changed na'aku. Whoops. We've changed na'aku to naikaiteu, and then everything else is the same. So let's see if you can do that. So akolea, uh, oh, the response? Naikaiteu ha'u moe tohi. Mhm. Right, so okay, yeah, you can say it. Okay. So I'll once we go down, I'll be saying the statement, and I need you guys to convert it to the negative and repeat that back to me. Okay. Okay. So Akole, you'll start. Uh, okay. So you want to say both? Okay. Oko ita ia pita momele. Correct. Okay. Um, what did you change your name to? Yoshikulukula. Uh, Yoshikulukula. Na e o mai a kepa mo finau. What was that? Oh, oh, you want to both do? Well, well, yeah. I mean, oh, whoops. I mean, once you said it, like the answer has already been said. Yeah. Okay. So nothing's missing. Yeah. So so the statement in positive is "Nai o mai a kepa mo finau." So in order to because there's no so you can see in these first two there is a preposed pronoun, na'aku okuo. Here there isn't, right? So you can see in the first two we do ikai te and then translate this to the correct one. So okuo is okuikaiteu. Na'aku is na'ikaiteu. Um, and then because we have na eo, it's not ikaite anymore, it's ikaike. So all we have to do is add ikaike. So these sentences without the pronoun are the easiest because we just add ikaike and then the whole rest of the sentences are the same. Okay. Okay. hmm hmm Correct. Yeah, that is right. Okay, ako lea. E fifiacione mo tamaiki ako. Correct. All right. Yoshi. Oku e hene e ufi mo talo. It's close. So here, yeah, so because there's no pronoun right here, all we have to do is add ikaike right here. And if we add ikaike right here, then the sentence becomes negative. And so we only use, it's only different for these two have been different, where it's na'aku has to turn into na'e ikaiteu, right? So that's a little more complicated. And okuo turns into oku ikaiteu. But all of these ones that we've done are a little bit, they follow the other pattern where we just add ikaike. Mhm. Okay, akolea te tao mokoi. Correct. Yeah, you got right. You got it at the end. Ika te tao mokoi. Okay, final one, Yoshi. Te maufolau moipule. Correct. Great. Ika te maufolau moipule. All right, so let's look at the vocabulary for this chapter. So we have a bunch of new words that we haven't seen before. So fuhu um, means to fight or to box, right? So boxing would also be called fuhu. Kato, brand new word that just means basket. Um, oh, really? That's interesting. Maya is rope. We have mo, which was like the main topic of the chapter. Penny is easy. That's just the English word pen. Talo is just the Tongan version of what we get, or taro, which is usually how it's said in English. And then tamaiki. So we've already seen tamaiki ako, so this isn't really like a totally new word. But tamaiki just means children. And you can see it's a combination of it's a combination of tama and iki, right? So iki means small. Iki. Um, so tamaiki, yeah, it's like ki'i. Hmm. Yeah. And so there's like a few words like I guess tamasi'i uses ce. Iki is ce but for multiple things. Yeah. So in Tongan there aren't a lot of words that change from singular to plural, but of course you know the one that we use all the time, which is aru and o. So we use o for multiple things and alu for one. And ce is one of those things that just like alu is very often used for multiple things, but iki is sort of exclusive for multiple things. You would never call a single thing iki. Yeah. So that's why we say tamasi'i just means one boy, right? And so that's why we can use the same word, where tamaiki means children and tamasi'i just means one boy. Um, And yeah, so this is in Tamaikiako, which just means school children, basically. I mean, the plural markers are used. Yeah, I mean they're used pretty often. It's just some words are implicitly plural, and so you can see Tamaiki doesn't have a plural marker before it, just because Tamaiki is it's yeah it's the word itself is plural, and so plural markers are used when we need to distinguish that something is plural or not. And so like for example, kau is usually the plural marker for people, right? Yeah, it's used any time that there's that it's not already implicit. Um, and so so a lot of people words, a lot of like words that describe groups of people are implicitly plural already. Um, like the Mikey, and like matua. Yeah, fafine means multiple women. That's already implicitly plural. Matua means parents, plural, and so we don't have. I mean, actually, it's motua. Yeah, or mother or father, but motua is the singular, um, which just means old. It is also the adjective for old. Um, a lot of the time though, ongo matua will be used just because when you're dealing with duals, ongo is used more, even when you're dealing with a word that's already implicitly plural. But if you're talking about lots of parents, you usually wouldn't say kau matua. You would just say koi matua to mean all the parents, like that you're addressing. Yes. So in general, kau is the plural marker for people. Um, and it also, because it's the plural marker for people, we'll see that later on when that word gets introduced. But it can also turn words that usually don't refer to people into word, yeah, into humans. So that makes it really useful as well. So, um, but that's later. So we'll get there when we get there. But for now, lesson 46, leson fauno. Here it says introducing ha. I mean, of course, we've already seen ha as in koi ha, but we'll see it as how or by what means, right? So that'll be occurring with verbs of travel. So this will be kind of a new thing. So here's the dialogue. Whoops, accidentally. Okay. Aloha, Sioniki Atele. Alo pasikala. Mhm. Nake ha'oha me America. Oh, I did I think I read it wrong. Nake ha'oha me America. America. Mm-hmm. Nakuha o Vakapuna. Ha, yeah, ha'u. Yeah, right. Yeah, for French, this is a very hard word. Mhm. Right. So, let's look at the notes which explain this more. So, may, I don't think that was even used. Yeah, but may, which we already learned, it follows. Or no, did we? I think we must have. It doesn't see. It doesn't. Hold on. Yeah, we've already learned may. But it follows the same rules as e and ki, right? So what we mean by that is Me Nuku'alofa, right? So this is a proper place name, and so um, it's me, and then Mea for Devi for people. So we have that extra a at the end of um, like so. E is ia, ki is kia when talking about people. Um, yeah, and then he for definite nouns. So me he fayako, just like ihe and kihe. And then we can also see over here, we can also replace all of those with I, where it's the same in all cases. Yeah. Or no, I just mean like when you're replacing anything with I, it's just it's just made by itself. There's no hey, there's no may I when you're replacing a person. It's just always may I. Um, yeah, and so it's nice that Tongan has for iki and may. It's all the exact same thing, and they all end in I as well. So it's really easy to just see how they relate to each other. Um, Malole, Aria. Hmm. So here we have already learned certain verb-object combinations that function as single and transitive verbs. So these are things we learned before, like kaima, inukava. Mhm. So similarly to that, when we're talking about traveling by some means, we can combine a noun with a verb to show that the activity of the verb is accomplished by the noun. So haupasi, right, where pasi means is this really what the book says? Because that is not what pasi means. Yeah, I don't. I guess I just no. Basi means bus. Yeah, I don't know how I mistyped that, but yeah. So haupasi means come by bus. Alulori means go by truck, where this is lorry. Um, and then we have the we can contrast it with how we would usually expect to see this from now or before now, which is hauhe pasi. Mhm. Or aluhelori. So you can see that these are referring to a specific bus or a specific truck, right? Where these haupasi and alulori, they just mean to go by bus, in the general sense where we say in English, come by bus or go by truck. Um, and yeah, I think lesson 21 is where we learned about kaima, whatever. So here we have the repetition memorization, so we can practice that. Um, so here's this first one before we read it. We see ha'olalo. So the sentence is nake ha'olalo. And you can see the translation is on foot. Or so lalo just means down, yeah, or low. And so sort of the idea is that you're not on anything. Yeah, you're not up on anything. You're just walking on the ground. So nake ha'olalo. Mm-hmm. Nako ha'olori. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Na e o hata maiki. Mm-hmm. Yeah, those two long vowels in a row. Mm. Na o saliote. Mhm. Yeah, so this is the Tongan word for chariot. And so When I was in Tonga, I didn't really hear people say saleote very much. Um, I heard like a lot of the times people refer to their car as saleote. Yeah, so it's sort of a third way to refer to car. So me'elele is probably this is the most common, followed by just ka and then saliote sometimes. And I think that's just a um result of when this was written. I don't know. I guess it must have been more common. Like cars must have been less common in Tonga. But now like people don't usually like push carts around. It's not common at all. Um, Oha devita me mua. Mhm. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Tongan with all its H's and glottal stops, it's very, very, very hard. Yeah, I guess yeah, Tongan just does that. It's just very unfortunate. Yeah, great. Oops. Okay. Na how ulori me ai. Great. Whoops. Yeah, I hit the wrong button. Um, o ko aloha tok ta ki kolo. Mhm. O ko alo pasikala. Mhm. Te ki fuke ha ki Hawaii. Mhm. Te fuki waka. Oh, I forgot. Sorry, sorry. Yeah, good. I'm sorry. Te fuki waka. Mhm. Alea, just one note. It kind of sounded like you said te u. So you want to kind of blur it together so it's just like teu. Yeah, teu. Almost like it was one word, or pretty much like it was one word. Yeah, it'll be written a lot as one word. Oha beni me fisi. Yeah, ha ah. It's pretty hard. Yeah, good, good. Yeah, ha u ha ah. Yeah, it's you're switching back and forth. Mm-hmm. Ha o pakapuna. Ha u. Mm-hmm. Good. Yeah, so wakapuna kind of just means jumping or flying boat. and that's the Tongan word for airplane. Did you guys have any questions with any of these sentences? Like any of the words in them or anything? Yeah, so dokta, so let's see. A lot of the time it'll be written like this. So what happens is this long A, because there's a e before it, we have to turn this into like a definitive. So the way Tongans pronounce it is it's not. I guess with a long A, it's kind of hard to show. If it was spelled like this, then you would normally say toqueta, which that would be a different word because that's not how it's pronounced. But if this was normally toqueta, then if we had an A before it, we'd have to put an accent over the A, so it'd be toqueta. But because it's a long A, we have to put the accent over it, and it's like it has to be the last thing. And so a long A already represents two A's, and so we have to split it up, and then we can put the accent over the second A. And so this is like how Tongan is officially spelled. We do tokta like this. Hmm. And a lot of the time in written Tongan, people will like in this case, they will remember to write it as two A's, but like actually putting the accent over it's not very easy because Tongan keyboard layouts aren't supported and they don't autocorrect. Yeah. Mhm. But it is like doctor would often have it would often be definite. Um, yeah, and so that's why it's become docta. And this e, because it's based off the English word doctor, Tongans will kind of just yeah they'll really reduce this e, so it's just docta. Um, yeah. Okay, so moitali. Let's see. I guess we can zoom in so we can do like this again. So yes, so I'll ask you the question, and this will be your answer. So let's look at the first one as an example. So the question is, Nakeha oha? And the answer is saliot. Yeah. So the answer is saliote, right? And so in the response, you say, Nakeha o saliote, or this should be ku. Yeah, so not ku. So yeah, the answer is I came by boat. Yeah. So that was just a typo. Um, so as we go through, I'll ask you the question, and then this will be your answer. Just respond like that. So Aquilea, you go first. There we go. Yeah, no. Yeah, yeah. Okufia aloha pita. Yeah. So okufia alu basi. So we don't need to repeat the apita because it's understood already. Okay, Yoshi. Um, Teki folauha. Correct. Vakala is sailboat. Yeah, so teu folau vakala. Um, okay. Alia, na hauha sione. Yes. So yeah. So the question is na hauha, and you replace the ha, which is what, with this answer right here. No, it's not a ha'u lodi. Hmm. Yeah. So because yeah, you don't need like it's not wrong to say azione, But because we already know that I'm talking about Sione, you can leave it out. And so here they leave out the answers, but it's not wrong to keep Asione. Okay. Yeah, ako lea. Naifolaw ha if I fi- You can't? Really? Naifolaw ha if I ikaw. Mhm. Correct. Yeah, naifolaw ako puno. All right, Yoshi. Na ha tama si E. Correct. Okay. And Alia. Demoheka ha. Yeah, heka hoshi. Yeah, so the question is de mo, and so mo is you all, and so the response is mao, which is we all. So the question is, how did you all get here? The response is horse, so it's we came by horse. So heka means ride. Yeah, it does. Um, so it means to get up on something. I think. Yeah, we already learned it, and so um, it means to like yeah get up on something. Um, but in the question "temo heka ha," you're asking like what did you ride here? I guess like it doesn't really make sense in English to say it any other way. Um, but yeah, it works in Tongan, so like heka hos. Hmm. Yeah, so heka works for horses, obviously, cars, boats, planes. Hmm. Um, yeah, the problem is English, not Tongan. So here, the vocabulary we learned is ha, as in how or by what means. Um, so hosi is just the English word horse. You can see it has two O's in it. Um, and this is also just like a result of Tongan spelling. So you can never have a word where a long vowel is the second to last unless the last one is also long. Because yeah, so you can never ever have this unless the last word is definitive. Yeah, exactly. So hosi, yes. So if we always marked the accented vowel, it would be this one right here. That's marked, and that would split up the long O. But we don't mark it, but we still split up the O. That way, the accented vowel is its own thing that you can look at. So you'll see that's just a rule in Tongan writing. So it's always like this. Hmm. Yeah. Um, so we have lalo. So we saw that earlier. It just means down, but if you're talking about alu lalo, it means on foot. Um, lori is truck, or honestly, it should say the English. Is that how you spell lori? I mean, I don't use it because I live in America. Yeah, it does not have a E. Yeah, that should definitely be there, so it's not confusing. Pascala is just the English word bicycle, where this I kind of is very reduced. Pascala. Hmm. Benny is a very, very common man's name in Tonga. Yeah, it's very common. And it's just Benny. Where I don't think you'd hear Benny very often in at least in America. It's a lot of people aren't being named Benny anymore. Yeah. Saliote is two-wheel cart. I also added chariot. This is something I added because it's nice to know what the English word it came from is. Bacala. Mhm. This isn't a word I would have heard very often, and I wasn't like, oh, interesting. Dalvala. Mm. Huh. Yeah, like nowadays, like I don't think I ever saw a sailboat in Tonga. Just because everyone just uses diesel powered motorboats to get around. It's much better because you don't have to. Yeah, but I mean, it's like you don't have to wait for the wind to be good. You can actually get places you need to go, and so people don't use sailboats. Yeah, it's way more practical. So la or vaka la is something I almost like. I never heard everyone talk about this. Um, hmm. Yeah, I think sometimes foreigners use them, but they were usually like only in one part, and I didn't really see them a lot. Because like the native Tongans don't you really use them. Issues. I mean, I think wind is I don't know because like I didn't sail, so I didn't even really hear anybody talking about the wind conditions as far as sailing. Yeah, so it wasn't really a topic of conversation because um people just use engine powered boats. Okay, how long has it been? All right, let's keep going. Lesson 47. So it's only five feet two. We're reviewing time questions with subject noun, and we're going to be reviewing poto and saya, which we already learned as well. Mm. Let me flip my book page. All right. E alo affeasione. Mhm. E alo he wiki kahau. Ooh. Okay. Wiki. Mhm. Yeah, kahau. Na ifoki mai ne feta maiki. Mm-hmm. One thing to Yeah, so I was going to mention that. So here, both of you sounded like it sounded like there was a glottal stop here, but there isn't. And so you need to make this sound. So even though there's a space here, it really is just three E's in a row, basically with no glottal stop in between. And so it's en effet tamaiki, right? So that there actually is no stop at all between these. Yeah. So you just have to kind of not try to make this sound on its own, because if you do that, a glottal stop will kind of creep in on its own. Yeah, so if you think of it like this, "Nai fucking maya nai fe tamaki." That's how it's supposed to sound. Um, no, oh maya nai fe he tolu. Oh, sorry, ananai. I said that wrong. He toru. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. So the question adverbs afe and anefe may occur right after the verb that is being qualified, or after the noun that either acts or receives the action of the verb. So before we didn't have this sort of like acione or whatever, but now we do. So you can see both of these mean when did John come? Na ha'u anefe acione, or na ha'u acione anefe. Mhm. So both of these are perfectly acceptable. Um, and I guess it just matters. Yeah, but I guess sort of this ha'u acione, um, sometimes it's important to keep this together, right? And so you can have the anefe after it. But the other thing is in the answers to afe, anefe, and hefiha questions, the adverbial modifier usually occurs after the noun phrase. So, mhm. Yeah, so you can see that Tongan kind of naturally wants to keep the verb and the person, like the agent, together like this. Um, and so that's kind of why this is acceptable. But obviously, like on the other hand, anefe wants to, like the question word wants to go after the verb, like came when, right? But just in general, nai ha'wasione anenai or nai omae tamaiki hetoru, right? This is the natural way. Hmm. Um, yeah, and so yeah, that's what we'll practice in the drills. E alo afea mele. Mhm. Nai folau ane fea sione. Mhm. Mhm. O ku komata a fea whakataha. Mhm. E whakatu a fea ako. Good. Nai tutuku ane fea ako. Good. Hmm. Yeah, again, it's difficult. You need to make sure it sounds just like one long, triple long eh. En effet, ako. Like that. Yeah, it's hard to sort of like get over the mental block because it is like two different words, and so you have to somehow prevent it. Just because like in English we don't care whether you do a glottal stop or not, and so we'll just do that to break up vowels naturally. Um, e haʻoe vili he fiha. Mhm. E ose ngā oe he fiha. Good, great. E alo e mele he mahina ka ha'u. Mm. Na i whalawa sione he wiki ko osi. Mm. E kamata e whakataha nai he whā. Mhm. E whakatua e ako he tusite koe ni. Oh, whakatu'u? So whakatu'u is usually referring to school or sort of like yes. So focal here is a variation of whaka. And then yeah, so this was in a lesson last week, and then tu'u is to stand, and so it just means like to begin, like as in like for the while. It's sort of like institute or like be set up, I guess. And we use this word in reference to the school year. So that's why it's yeah. Whakatau e ako he tu ste koe ni. Hmm. Yeah, I mean it is Tuesday, but it's pronounced more like tuesday or tuesday. Yes, so this I you can almost pretend like it's not there. So it's kind of like tuesday. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's usually how it sounds. Okay. E hao e toktahe ni ma. Good. E o se ngā we he walu. Mm-hmm. Good. Great. O se ngā. Well, yeah, it's two glottal stops in a row, and then you have to not do it. So e o se ngā we. Yeah, I guess it's kind of just you have to remember that this is like really reduced. Mm-hmm. Yeah, good. So simple substitution now. So we'll just be replacing this word. Mm-hmm. O ko pota sione ha ka puru. Hmm? No, no, no. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. This is that really what it says? Hold on. It's cacao. Yeah. Yeah, so it's o ko pota sione he cacao. Mhm. Okay. What was the question? O ko pota sione he cacao, I guess, because it's ako, yeah. O ko pota tamasi I he whakauri. Whoops. Mm-hmm. O ko pota tamasi I he la tohi. Hmm? Ko pota tamasi I. Yeah.
Yes. Okupoto e tamashik e lau boys.
La tohi.
Lau toys.
Hmm. Right. Um, o ka saia mele he whaiva. Um, I guess, huh? I'm not sure. I guess like this is how you would say that. Um, I guess it, hmm. I guess you could say like individual study, like ako whakatau taha. Or yeah, you could specify what kind of study, like ako he interneti or ako he tohi. I guess for school you could say ako he whare ako. Yeah, he ako. Oko sai e ta hine he tanisi. Oko sai e ta hine he tamasi. Mm-hmm. Oko sa mhm, mhm, right. Oko sai e kepu ia finau. Mm. Okay, good. So yeah, well, dulo so it means excuse me in certain situations. So when you walk in front of someone or reach in front of someone, normally in other situations it's kataki for excuse me. Like may I have your attention is kataki. You? Okay. Yeah, arawa tokusio. Bye. Um, okay, let's review the vocabulary then. So we had three new words. So lautohi is to read a book. So this kind of is an answer to one of the questions you were having before. Hmm? Yeah, so it means to read, to consider something, um, to count, to and then here like to read from a book. It can also mean to read out loud. And so, yeah, so lao has a lot of different meanings. Um, and then besides that, tenisi is just tennis. Vili is a pretty common name. Um, it's short for Viliami. It's actually my dad's name. Yeah, my dad's name is Viliami. Um, and so I guess it's short for Willie. I guess it's like it sounds pretty close to that in English. And yeah, so Viliami is Tongan for William. Um, yeah. Okay. Let's see. Okay, it's been an hour and 20 minutes. You want to do another lesson or is that long enough? Um, how many? We only do three. We've only done three. Do you want to do a fourth? I guess. Like I like if you guys don't have time to do a whole other lesson, that's fine. Okay. What about you, Yoshi? Okay, let's do one more real quick. So Sony Valu, we'll be looking at Fiha, which is how you talk about how much or what price something is, and we'll be looking at numbers as adjectives. Mhm. So, Oku Fiha is sote. Oku banga e taha sinite nima. Yeah, actually, let me change this. So I have yes, so I've actually heavily edited chapter 48. So this chapter is going to be very different from what's in the book because I felt that it was just it was just too out of date. That like I couldn't leave it as it was. And so I'll be pointing out some of the changes I've made. But this is I think this is before I decided to always translate Paanga as just Paanga because no it's way too confusing to do as Shumway does. He always translates Paanga as dollar. And just like the way I see that is I always understand that to mean the American dollar or at least something that's like similar in value to it, like the Canadian dollar or something. And so I've gone ahead and changed it. So the original idea was, or originally when the ponga was formed, it was 2 ponga per English pound, and it remains today. I just always think of it as 2 ponga per dollar, even though it's gone down in value a little bit, so it's a little bit more than 2 ponga per dollar. It's the money of Tonga. It's the money of Tonga. No, people would say tola, right, if they were talking about an American dollar. So that's why I don't think it should be translated as dollar. Yeah, so it's Okopange. Yeah, so I already said this. Okopange taha's nite ni ma. Yoshi, did you already read this? I don't remember. Okay. So Mm. So we've already learned fiha in reference to time. So like te ose he fiha, right? So that was saying what exactly like what hour will you finish or what exact time. But when immediately preceded by the tense marker, right, it means how much or what the price is. So oku fiha, right? And yeah. And so it has to be like like he fiha always means like time, but when it's just by itself like oku fiha, you can see it's just talking about how much. Yeah, I guess you if it goes into the verb slot. I guess I kind of think of this as a question word still, right? So when numeral occurs adjectively, it's preceded by e. So if you know anything about Hawaiian, actually, you'll know that all the numerals in Hawaiian start with e. Whereas in Tongan, that's just like we talk about numbers, like so it's panga eua or snite etahanima. So this sort of which is its own thing, right? It's not the definitive thing. Yeah. Um, it always goes in between the noun and the number that describes how many of that thing we have. Um, so let's see. So the original book says roughly Tongan money is as follows: Sinite e hongofulu is seline e taha. Seline e hongofulu is panga taha, and panga was sovaleni e taha. I've changed this because nobody ever uses Cellini or Sovaleni anymore. And this isn't due to because the currency of Tonga has changed 3 times since this book was written. So like all the coins, all the bills have all been thrown away 3 times and replaced with new things since this book was written. And people just do not use these at all in day-to-day speech. I don't know if I've made a note of this. Sovaleni, I hmm? No, there are like Sovaleni. I never heard that word once ever in the entire 2 years I was in Tonga. No, I don't know if there ever was a coin that was worth a Sovaleni or anything. But like it doesn't say it anywhere on the coins. It's just 100 cents per panga, right? Just like you would expect. Um, so I've made a note here. However, the terms Sydney and Sovaleni are now rarely used. Um, Note 4 is entirely my own. There was no Note 4 in the original. Because the smallest denomination in Tonga is the 5-cent coin, all prices in Tonga are rounded to the nearest 5 cents when paying in cash. So I've gone through the whole lesson, and any time it said senite a number that isn't a multiple of 5, I've removed that because you will never use that ever. Um, I remember going through this the first time. I was like so confused, like, wait, Pangaeua? Like what the heck? Like do they used to have like 1 cent coins here? And they don't anymore. The like I said, basically every time there's a new king, they completely throw out all the money and replace all of it. And so yeah, the last time they did yeah, like if you have any money from like I guess, yeah. If you have any pre 2015 money that is basically like I didn't see any of it when I was in Tonga. I'm it probably doesn't have any value. Like I think a lot of people wouldn't accept it, you know. It's I mean, it has value if someone will accept it, but um and I don't know, like if you took it to the bank or something, like maybe they'd let you just exchange it for a modern coin. But yes. So the currently the way Tongan money is they have 5 cent, which is very rare actually. Um I like almost never ever saw 5 cent coins. Like when I saw one, it was like seeing a 4-leaf clover almost, because it was like, oh, a 5 cent coin. Well, that's so weird. Because 10 cent is like for the longest time I thought the 10 cent coin was the smallest coin in Tonga. But then they have 20. They have 20 cent coins, 50-cent coins, and then they have dollar coins. There are no one. I mean, a one panga coin. I should say. There are no one panga bills. So the smallest bill is a two panga bill, and then from there you have five panga bill, 10, 20, 50, and then pretty rarely was 100. And the 100 bill panga bills were pink. The 50 panga bills were green, and those are the ones you usually see. Like when someone had a lot of money, usually be in 50s, not in 100s. Um, so yeah, so that's just kind of why I've changed it. Like all the drills where they were drilling Cellini or drilling Sovaleni, I've just removed those. Um, and yeah, and so in all translations, I've also changed dollar to panga because it just seemed inaccurate to me. Okay, so let's start here. Snite Nima. Snite Tahanima. Um, Snite Fitunoa. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um, Fitu for seven. Bangehiva. Yeah, I guess it's really yeah. So it's Bangehiva, Nima, Bangefitu, Bangeono, Bangefafitu. Mhm. Okay. Okufihaya. Yeah, Fiha. Knife. Mm-hmm. Knifehaya. Naifehaya. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yoshi. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okufihaya tohi. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Um. Okufia te tongi pasi. Okufia te tongi ako. Okufia te tongi folau. Okufia te tongi hu. Mm-hmm. Let's see. O ko whia e kato uwhi, I ka, kumala, mea kai, I ka. O ku pangenima. Mm. Okay. Here we have question and answer then. Zoom in. So let's look at the first one. So the question is, o ko whia kato I ka? The answer would be one paanga. You'd answer, o ko paanga e taha. So, ako lea. Ako lea, o ko whia e tohi? No, no, no. It's question and answer. So this is my question that I'm asking you. Eh, Okay. Um, Yoshikurkula o ko whia te tongi pasi? Whoops. Sorry. Uh, there. This one. O ko whia te tongi pasi? Yes, the answer is 25 cents. Yes. Yeah, so it's the number for 2 and the number for 5. No. So in the answer you just say oku, so is sinite onima. Mm. Um yeah. Ako lea, o ko whia te tongi ako? Mm-mm. Hiva is 9. Correct. Yeah. Nope. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's not something that yeah, maybe that's something good to practice. Yeah. Um can you Akole, can you count to 10? Maybe that's a good practice. Mm-mm. Uh-huh. Mm-mm. No. Okay, so you got 3 and 7 wrong. Right. So 3 is tolu. Tolu. Oh, fitu. You said the wrong for fitu. 7. Um, I don't remember. It wasn't Tongan. Uh-huh. Uh, Yoshikurukula, are you able to count to 10 in Tongan? Hiva. Correct. Yeah, so taha ua tolu fa ni maono fitu valo hiva homofu. And then from there it's just taha taha ua. So it's really easy from there. Um okay. So oh, yeah. Yeah, the numbers can be they're tough. If you haven't just like heard the numbers being counted up a lot. Yeah, the numbers are really similar. Um Yoshikorokola, okofia to tongihu. Mm-mm. So you don't say fiha in the answer. Oh. No. So it's because it's sense, you say okusenite is how it starts. Correct. Yeah. Okusenite fa no. Okay. Okay. Akulea okufiha wasi. Correct. Okay, inimino. Yoshikula okufiha kato ufi. Yeah, correct. Okupangai taha. Okay. Akulea okufiha kofu. No, that was Indonesian. Uh Yoshikula okufiha tarau sese. Yeah. So bangaefa. It's important to remember that in Tongan we put an extra e before numbers. Yeah. Okay. So we learned fiha, which in this case doesn't mean when, but how much. So it's important to remember that, the two different ways that's used. So who, we saw that several times. So who means to enter, go through, go inside of, worship, or adore. Yes. So sort of these last two, worship and adore, they're kind of used in. I mean, like I saw these in like scriptures, as you would expect for like worship. Yeah, and so yeah, it's mhm. Yeah, so it's kind of figurative almost to mean worship or adore. Um, but yeah, it's important to like if you see that in this context to remember that. So kofu is dress. Sometimes it'll be yeah. Sometimes it'll be refer to this very specific style. Um, Let me see. I can probably find a picture if I just search Tongan kofu. Yeah. So you can see in this picture, these women are all wearing what would always be called a kofu. So it's sort of this. A lot of the times, it's this solid color. Like these ones have like a little bit of pattern on it. Oftentimes they'll wear this tall tauvala over it. Um, but this is like the traditional Tongan kofu. Usually it goes down to the ankles. Um, yeah, there's like different ones. Like you can see here, these are all kofu. Yes, so they're all wearing these white dresses with the talvala and the leaves over it. Yeah. Yeah, actually, now that I've clicked on this picture, all of the other pictures are all showing Tongan women wearing kofu. So yeah, this is it's very common, especially like this is what everyone wears on Sunday, and you can see the male version is very similar. Um, Men will just wear a dress shirt and a talvala. Um, Tongan Sunday um, dress. So you can see it's very similar because like the men wear this sort of skirt talvala thing, but this is like a separate shirt, whereas this is like a single dress. But then both men and women will wear the talvala around the waist. And they're slightly different styles. Like women's talvalas tend to be longer and have like tupenu. Just it's actually just the Tongan word for cloth. Um, and it refers to it's just like the rectangle that this person is wearing around their waist. So you know, you start here, it goes around the back, comes out in the front, and it's just like sort of a skirt. Um, yeah. So this is a little formal. Like this is like pretty much like you would expect a normal person to be wearing just a typical Western dress shirt with a tie on, and then the tavala and tupenu with any sort of flip flops on or sandals. Like you can see these people they're wearing very large talvalas and sort of yes. So the bigger the tavala, the more important the occasion. Um, there's just like another thing like for funerals. Here we go. This is a good example. For funerals, the family of the deceased will wear very, very big tavalas. And these are like basically like mats, and they will be torn and frayed. And so the like and the closer you are to the deceased, the more tattered your the more torn and frayed your thing should be. Um, yeah. So that's kind of just some Tonga culture. You can see like a lot of different pictures of people wearing these big, and yeah, you always wear everything else you're wearing should be black as well, and that's just sort of a carryover from Western culture, I guess. Yes, so paanga is dollar. I guess this should probably say money of Tonga. Pepa is just the English word paper, so it's pepa, not pepa, as you maybe might expect. Yeah, seniti is clearly just sent. So sirini, which was introduced but not really used, is shilling, and then sovaleni is pound. Yeah, the sovereign. Yeah, so these are both English words. Sote is just shirt, just the English word shirt. Um, I guess one thing to mention about silini is people don't really use it in reference to 10 cents anymore. But people will often use silini to mean money in general. So my silini means give me money. So actually, do they even have a word for money in general besides this? Yeah, I guess yes. So this is the main word for um I should probably just put that in money. Currency of Tonga. Um so yeah, so if you want to just talk about money in general, silini is the word you use, and that's what that means rather than 10 cents. Tarasese is just the English word trousers. So totongi, we saw this a bunch, and there's all these different versions of it. It's fare or pay, wages, fee, um, like a toll, I guess. So totongi ako just means the price of school, right? So tuition is how we call that in English. And hala halatani silini, I guess, yeah, no money. But yeah, so you can see that really, like, they've shown these four examples, but you can use this with anything that makes sense. So Totongi Folao is boat fare, Totongi Pasi is bus, Totongi Hu is just the admission. Um, yeah, admission price is how he has it. And then Wasi. Yeah, Totongi Faiva, exactly, would be a movie ticket price. Um, Wasi is wristband or wristwatch. Um, uh, um, I I wanted to say bouquet, but obviously that isn't actually it. Um, yeah, clock. What is clock? I feel like I'm just forgetting it. Like I'd probably. Oh, wasi. Yeah, I guess they just don't have a different word for it. Yeah, I'll do this. Watch comma clock. Yeah. So oh, okay. Okay. Do you guys have any questions? Okay. Thank you guys for coming then.